And we are live with Mr. Matt Kuntz, the head of QA for Logisolve Consulting. Matt, how are you this afternoon?
I'm well, thank you, Kelly. And you?
You know what? I'm doing good. It looks very rainy like it has been the last 320 days outside my window, so I'm disappointed about that.
Me too.
Does it impact your motorcycle driving, having it wet all the time? I was
Yeah.
thinking about you.
Absolutely, it does.
Do you just
enjoyable.
don't go? Do you not go out at all, or will you go out and you just have to be extra careful, or how does that work?
If I'm out and I'm in the rain, it's one thing versus deciding not to go out because it's raining. So,
how much more dangerous or unenjoyable? It's incredible. I'm sure it's not enjoyable at all, but is it significantly less safe when you're out in the rain?
well, there's some inherent risks. Obviously, people can't see. The roads get a little slick and you're wet. So you got to plan for it.
Okay. But do you take your bike out west to Sturgis, or do you put it on a trailer?
Last time I was out there, I rode. So I'm a rider.
Yeah. That's a long drive. Long drive.
It is. It wears you out,
What, is that like 9 hours probably? Something like that straight?
Probably with stops a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But give or take.
Yeah.
Roughly 9 hours. But you're stopping every 200 miles to get gas, 250 or whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You're in probably not as much. When I'm heading that way, I'm heading on 90 and I'm heading straight into western Wyoming or, spots to get elk hunting. And so I'm like bombing, like the Sturgis Black Hills area is kind of my half, Gillette is the spot we'll sometimes stop and stay overnight if we're going far west. So
yeah, when you're screaming across 90, at 80, 85, whatever, on a bike, it gets the crosswinds can kick your butt.
It's like, I'm assuming having a blow dryer on your face and trying to push you over the whole time, 110 degree heat coming out of South Dakota, Badlands blowing on you the whole way over.
Yeah, it's fun to get on the back roads and relax a little bit.
Yeah, I could see that. Very cool. So we're talking, and recently I've been talking with clients about the Dev Center, our Logisolve Dev Center, Data Dev Center QA group, which is it's in some ways a competitor to offshore. It's a local group of consultants in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Some of them are dispersed into Wisconsin, and we got, I guess, a couple of people maybe in Colorado, but overall they're mostly in Minnesota, Wisconsin, and they do different amounts of work, more of that scalability kind of work for customers versus staff augmentation, where you get somebody for 40 hours a week. And the cloud came up in a conversation. How is the cloud impacting our ability to provide services around QA? Are you seeing, is QA in almost all the testing work we do, is most of it coming off of a cloud these days, or 50-50, or how does that work?
Probably 60% for the most part, and growing.
Okay.
And it really depends on the client and what software they're using. If they have homegrown services, they might not be cloud-based. You might have to VPN in and access things. A lot of the purchase packages, Microsoft Dynamics and stuff, everything gets moved to the cloud, whether your data is local or you're moving that to the cloud. It's remote access.
Okay.
It's a huge benefit, from a testing standpoint, just to be able to log in. And I won't age myself, but, remembering the days you got to have access to the application, you got to download it, making sure you can log in. There are all kinds of steps, and setting things up locally and getting access to all the subsystems or integration systems locally would be problematic. Now everything can be configured with the authentication and user IDs to access things, whether you're sitting here or New Mexico or Venezuela.
I'm gonna use my technology here. I'm gonna show you. I typed in before our meeting here what I used. The question I asked AI was, what does the cloud do for QA and testing?
It was a
And
good test.
let's see if I can. There's my entire screen. Let's click on that. Go like this. And what pretty for some reason, by the way, all of my or a lot of my queries these days are immediately getting answered by AI. So instead of Google coming back with results, I'm getting this kind of response from Google, which is the AI overview on everything. So AI is starting to infiltrate all of our lives. I'm assuming many people are starting to get the same kind of responses from AI versus just Google links to websites. So it says cloud testing can benefit QA by scalability, data management, collaboration, real device access, test visualization, cost effectiveness. You mentioned that part about the collaboration piece, and they talk about how it's a lot easier for people to get access these days. I did find it interesting that there's integration with these other QA, historically QA tools,
Yep.
which I was not aware of. And so so people are still using all the traditional QA tools and they've just integrated them to the cloud?
No, that's changed throughout the years too, with everyone using different tools to manage test cases, defect management. Currently my client uses DevOps, so we're using that for test management, story management, task management, bugs, reporting, test cases, etc. There's various other tools that are out on the marketplace that people are using, whether they're using automation, Selenium-based products that allow anyone to access and use. The days of downloading, Test Director, having a local and having everything maintained within there, and you'd have to download it on your PC are long gone. So there is some huge benefits with it. It makes our jobs easier. It allows administrators to distribute access to applications and components within applications too. So you can allow access at a tier level. You can see some things, you can see everything, which has been very helpful.
When it comes to quality assurance, are you seeing, does the cloud have specific modules built in that are taking the place of some of those others? And has QA on the cloud started to integrate AI for any automation kind of things yet, or is that not here yet?
Yeah, it's here. It's going to be probably environment specific. Some people are a little more advanced with it, and some people are learning with it. Anytime I can reduce redundancy and not have to do things over and over again or shuffle steps per se, from a quality standpoint, I will use AI. One of my clients they're trying to focus more of that going into the future. Logisolve has been one where we try to promote it where possible, but it's still a learning curve. So it's new with the integration of testing. There are a few people in the marketplace that have an opportunity to get their hands dirty with it and have started using it, and I've heard good things. I've heard bad things with it as well, but I think inevitably that's going to be the future.
Okay. Is there I had a AI expert from Best Buy on a couple of weeks back, and he was talking about we are in the view of having automated code. Is it, have you heard of there being products that are out there looking at commas and, going through the code base from a QA perspective, and then looking at DevOps and trying to align requirements to actually what the code is saying? Or is that still futuristic sci-fi kind of?
I would say it's futuristic. There's a lot of manual intervention that has to occur with that. And you had Hao on, right? Hao Peng?
Yeah, Hao Peng, exactly.
Yeah, used to work with him. So if he's listening to this, hi, Hao. I think it's happening, but it's going to be slow. And then when it hits, it'll be a big boom, right? Where everyone's trying to do it. And you see that too with companies where I don't know, pick a company. They're starting to use it. Their CEO or CIO hears it. Oh, we need to be doing that. So that just moves it forward quicker, right? There's always a learning curve, and you got to look at the return on asset, what you're going to put into it and what you're going to get out of it too. With quality, obviously making something very repeatable is a good thing, and AI can help with that too.
Sure. So with the Dev Center specifically, they're based in Minneapolis or in St. Paul, Oakdale at our Dev Center, or around if they're distributed. Is the cloud's primary role when we're working with customers is the potential value, it's the sharing of the platform, the information, the environment. That's what the cloud is bringing.
Yeah, I would say yes. Just ease of use, having it centralized in one spot so people or systems can access it a little bit easier. I think we mentioned that too. With the testing that used to occur, I'd have to replicate or set up a server or systems or databases to replicate what the production system was doing. That would require a lot of stand-up of test environments. And now with cloud-based systems, it allows that to be a little bit easier, streamlined, APIs, right? I can point to it, I can retrieve data, I can push or post data relatively quick, and I can replicate that in a test environment without having to stand up a bunch of hardware or software to integrate with that. It makes it so much easier from a testing perspective. So things that are happening at the dev center could also be happening at the test center too. And that's one thing that we've talked about in the past is, companies or anybody listening out there that might be interested in, let's say you have 20 hours, 40 hours a month or 140 hours or 1,000 hours a month of testing that you're putting on your business users, right? A lot of people will look at quality and they'll say, well, I could just have my users do it instead of having a professional do it. Well, that's true, you could do that, but you're paying them to do a job probably in the business realm, and they're getting pulled away from doing what they're supposed to be doing to do testing. Some people are really good about setting aside time to say, I'm going to have a business analyst come in or a marketing specialist, but I'm going to reserve time for them to test releases each month. That's one of the things that we can help companies with, saying, instead of you doing it or having your people do it so they can focus on sales or their jobs or manufacturing or whatever it is, that would be something I would love to have a conversation with anyone out there on how we can help you, how we can help streamline that and take that off your plate, right? With the consulting in a dev center or a test center, you could pay, an annual fee, you could pay a monthly fee, you could pay a time and material fee to do that, but it does guarantee it's going to get done and you're going to have resources doing that instead of trying to pull your business folks off of what they're currently doing and have them, I got to do this again, and help streamline that. And then probably increase the quality too, just with the subject matter expertise and the professionalism that we do have, looking at not only what are you trying to do, let's make sure it's doing what it's not supposed to, or it's not doing what it's not supposed to be doing, and testing those parameters to make sure it doesn't break.
Yeah. One thing it seems like customers really like is the people they're using when they're using our test center or dev center. It's central time, and so it's easy throughout the United States time zones. They can be working directly with Minnesota people. They don't have to worry about emailing or staying up until 8 p.m. or up at 4 a.m. So you do occasionally hear that being an issue, as well as just the the streamlining, the efficiency of the way it works when you're onshore. So that's cool. Yeah. Well, Matt Kuntz, thank you so much for your time. Always great to talk to you, sir. For everyone else out there, you're watching the vodcast.